You've got $10,000 and you're ready to invest. Where in the world do you park your money right now? Well, you're in luck because we've got 17 different investment ideas that you can take advantage of right now. If you're ready, let's find out what they are. Let's go. What is going on, GFC fam and Wealth Hacker Nation? It is time to make your life more with your always grateful, always cheerful host, Jeff Rose. And right now, what we're talking about some serious money here. Now, maybe for some of you, $10,000 isn't a lot of money, but I can assure you, I can remember the first time that I invested $10,000, investing $1,000, that was like a big milestone for me. But to go to $10,000, that was just, it was big, right? One, you're like, wow, I've actually accumulated an extra $10,000 and now I'm going to invest it. Cause now it's like, okay, it's one thing to lose like $1,000, but when you lose $10,000 that you have spent a long time accumulating, you don't want to lose it. I mean, you're willing to, but you still don't want to.
Oh, I wish I could, but I don't want to.
And for those that have been there, you understand, there's some fear in there. There is some legitimate fear that you're going to pick a really crappy investment and lose all of your money. So today I want to break down what are 17, that's correct, 17 different investment ideas that you can put $10,000 into. Now, you might not be interested in all of these, and you shouldn't be interested in all of these because that would be over diversification. But just so if you are unsure of where to put your money, I'm a big believer in sharing different investment choices so that you can find an investment that matches whatever your financial goal is. But before we get started, a few housekeeping items. Number one, if you want to read what I'm talking about here, the text version, we have a blog post for you that lists all of these different investment strategies that you can go through. You can bookmark it. You can email it to yourself. If you want to share it on social media, you can do it too. I'll have a link to that blog post in the description. Also, if you are watching this on YouTube, yes, we do publish the GFC podcast on the new GFC TV YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe. Let other people know that Good Financial Sense is also on YouTube now, and you can check that out. So if you would please subscribe, hit that notification bell, it would be greatly appreciated. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into these 17 different ideas. The first one I think just makes sense for any amount that you are planning to invest. And what we're talking about here is a high interest, high yield savings account. Now, I know for the most part, high yield is an oxymoron nowadays. If you can find anything paying you close to 1%, you're actually doing really good. But don't hold your breath. Interest rates continue to be at historic lows. So don't expect to find some sort of high interest yield account paying you 2%, 3%, or anywhere close to 5%. So if you can get about 1%, you're doing pretty good. I would also suggest that if you have $10,000 to invest and you're just not quite sure where to put that money, putting it in a high yield savings is a great parking spot for your money. There is no rush to jump into any investment, trying to get in at the right time, trying to time the market. So if you aren't sure, if you aren't 100% confident, take advantage of a high yield savings. Put your money there. Yes, you might not be making a lot of money, but at least you're waiting until the time is right. And that time is when you fully understand what you're putting your money into. So that is option number one. Number two is autopilot investing. And what are we talking about here? So there's a few different options here. You can talk about M1 Finance. We could talk about Betterment. I've done other videos on M1 Finance. I will be doing a Betterment review video here soon and also a podcast. But basically, if you are looking to invest and you want to put your money in the market, but you just don't trust yourself, you don't trust yourself on which investment to choose, whether that be picking the right stocks, picking the right ETFs, that's where a platform like Betterment or M1 Finance is going to help out. Because with both of these, now Betterment does more of the you choose your financial goals, and then from there, they're going to let you know what is an investment strategy that's going to match like what you're trying to accomplish. And that's basically how Betterment works. I like Betterment because it does take all like the guessing game. Like you don't have to try to build a portfolio. They use ETFs. They'll build a portfolio for you. Uh, if there's any downside to this is that you have no control in the portfolio. So Betterment's going to build that portfolio for you. Now you compare that to M1 Finance, you have a few different options. Whether you want them, they have these expert pies that you can select. So that way, if you want to, you don't want to choose it yourself, or if you want to build your own portfolio, you can do that too. And they have stocks, they've got ETFs, they have a lot of different choices that you can go. So that's where both of these are great if you are interested in investing, but you just don't necessarily trust yourself in choosing the right investments. That's where I would look at one of these two as a potential investment option for that $10,000. All right, next on the list, I mean, we if we're going to talk about investing, we have to talk about one of the most popular ways that when people think about building wealth, this is an investment class that they think of, and that is real estate. Now, for many of you out there, myself included, maybe you don't consider yourself a real estate investor. Maybe you're not comfortable trying to find an investment property. Like that could be it can be very overwhelming. I can speak from experience because I tried that route, didn't have a lot of success, and then finally began to stuck with what I knew, and that was building the financial planning practice. Eventually that led to starting the blog and doing more of an online business. That being said, I do have some investments in real estate, just not your traditional real estate investment. So for me, I have real estate investment trusts. That is Fundrise, which I think is a great option for anybody that is interested in investing into real estate. You just don't have a ton of money. You can actually get started in Fundrise with as little as $500 in their starter portfolio. But if you've got $10,000, if you want to move some of that towards Fundrise, I would definitely consider that an option. Now, you don't have to do Fundrise. You could also do like a Vanguard ETF or even a Vanguard mutual fund. There's other ETFs that are in the different real estate sectors. What I like about Fundrise is that you are getting a diversified portfolio of different real estate investments. And they have commercial property, they have apartment complexes, townhomes. They also buy houses. They have strip malls. I mean, they have a really good variety of different type of real estate properties. And that's why I have enjoyed Fundrise. And you could check out some of my Fundrise videos where I share my account, my returns over the last 4 years now that I've been with them. In addition to Fundrise, I also invest into private real estate notes. Now, I do this in my self-directed 401k. That was the reason, well, not the only reason, but I started a self-directed 401k for the business. And I went the whole self-directed route so that I could potentially take advantage of these private offerings, whether it be investing into a private company, investing into private real estate. And that's essentially what I've done with some of that money. So that is where a majority of my real estate investments are. But for those that don't have a self-directed 401k and you want to invest into real estate, take a look at Fundrise. All right, moving on to the next investment option. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because I did dedicate an entire podcast talking about investing into dividend paying stocks. And we'll have a link to the blog post and also the podcast that talk about this. Now, what we didn't talk much about there is, well, I guess we did a little bit on where you can purchase some of these dividend paying stocks. And for those that did not listen to that episode yet, we talked a lot about the dividend aristocrats. And these are basically a list of stocks that have not only a history of paying dividends, but also have a history of continually increasing their dividend. So people that love dividends, awesome. Well, how about buying a stock that continues to pay dividend and has a history of giving you a raise over its lifetime? So that's what we talk about in that podcast and also in this blog post. Now, as far as like where you can go to M1 Finance. You could actually build a dividend aristocrat portfolio within M1 Finance. That's something that I have not done yet, but as I was recording the M1 Finance review video, I thought, you know what, like instead of doing this on another platform, like this seems like this would be a really easy place to do it. So M1 Finance is a great spot. You could also do it on Robinhood. You could do it on Public. You could do it on Webull, TD Ameritrade, any of these, Ally Invest. I mean, all these types of online brokers, every single one of these allow fractional shares, but a lot of them are now offering fractional shares. So just want to make sure I was clear on that. But you can open up an account with most of these and create a diversified portfolio of all these Dividend Aristocrat stocks. I think there's around 65. I don't remember the exact number. I think I'm close on how many Dividend Aristocrat stocks are. And this is something I think they update it once a year. So I know I'm pretty sure it's soon to be updated. But take a look at that. So that is another option that you can invest your $10,000 into. Now, did you think I was going to record a podcast talking about investing $10,000 and not bring up crypto at least once? I mean, if we're investing $10,000, that means you have the ability to put some money into crypto, and maybe it's Bitcoin, maybe it's Ethereum, maybe it's Dogecoin, whatever floats your boat. But I would definitely make the case that why not take a portion of your money, invest it into some sort of digital asset like Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin hit its all-time high back in November of last year. The high was 30, I wish, 68,000 back then. And since then, it's been a little bit all over the place. 68,000, it's dropped down into the high 30s. It's gone back up to the mid fours, like 46,000, I think. And I think the time it's recording, it's around 41. To me, what this has presented is a buying opportunity. It's a chance that maybe, I'm not saying put all your $10,000 into Bitcoin, but maybe you open up a Coinbase account and you put $1,000 in and you buy a fractional share or a fractional coin of Bitcoin so that you finally get some of this Bitcoin exposure. So now you can finally say, okay, I get it. I've been thinking about it. I've been putting it off. Now I'm ready. Not ready to buy a full Bitcoin yet, but I'm willing to put my money in and at least own some of this. And maybe it's not Bitcoin, maybe it's Ethereum, maybe it's some other cryptocurrency, but now is that time to start getting some exposure to this ever-evolving, fast-changing market that, from my standpoint, is not going away anytime soon. Now, another place that you could invest your money could be into your home. And this probably doesn't make as much sense when we think of it as an investment. If this is your quote unquote forever home and you think that you're going to be there for the rest of your life, that probably doesn't make as much sense. But if there's any inkling that you may be moving or that you'll be selling your house at some point in time, then putting some money, investing some money into your home, like this might be the perfect time. Right now, like we've seen home prices on average in the US increase by about 18%, like 18.4%, I believe. And that's the national average. Depending on where you live, how much more real estate prices have increased. Here in the Nashville area, I think just like in the last year alone, it's up like over 30%. That's so much. And where we are seeing the cost of building materials, like they are still so high that the inventory here and in a lot of different places is just super low. So that's why we're seeing home values stay at historic numbers. I mean, it's just there and it hasn't stopped yet, hasn't slowed down yet. And you can talk to any realtor right now and they would tell you the exact same thing. So if you are planning to sell, or maybe just not sell, maybe you're looking to, just increase the value of your home where you can then borrow against it. And as long as you're going to borrow against it for good purposes, not to go out and do crazy things with it. But if you find a decent contractor and that's willing to add some square footage to your home. And if you can do that, and let's say that it's going to cost you like around $50,000 to add 1,000 square feet to your home. Well, $50,000, 1,000 square feet. And I know here, like in the Nashville area, at least in our neighborhood, I've seen square footage prices at between $250 to like $400 a square foot. And I know that is like on the higher side. Well, maybe depending on where you live, that might sound insane to you. To others, you like in New York or California, you're like, yeah, that's about right. Actually, no, that sounds really cheap. So but I'm going to go ahead and just round it down a whole lot and say $150 a square foot. So if you spend $50,000, you add 1,000 square feet at $150 a square foot. Well, you've just added $150,000 of value to your home, which then that is equity. Like I said, if you want to refinance, if you want to use that to leverage and do some fun investing with it, I mean, you could do that. I mean, there's a variety of things that you could do, but that is one way that you can invest into your home. And the scenario that I just outlined for you, like that's basically you're 3xing your money. $50,000 to add the square footage, get you $150,000 of value. I mean, that is, once again, that's an easy way to 3x how much you have. All right. So for the most part, all the investing options I have discussed at this point are really more of the traditional investing. We could maybe say that investing in the home is not traditional. The rest of this really falls under that category of truly investing into yourself, investing into your education, investing into your relationships. For example, the next one is a coaching program. And this could be a business coach. This could be a career coach, fitness coach. I mean, there are tons of different coaching programs that exist out there. I know coaching for many is like this kind of like this taboo thing. Wait, what is a coach? What does that even mean?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And it was something for me, like I was totally new to this. It wasn't until I invested into a business coaching program. And this is going back, almost 10 years now. And it was one of the largest investments. It wasn't quite $10,000, but it was pretty dang close. I think it was around $8,000. And it was by far one of the best investments that I ever made. So coaching programs, investing into growth, investing into your education. I cannot talk about it enough. Something else that you can invest into is your credentials. How do you stand out from others? For me, that was investing into getting my CFP or a certified financial planner designation. That was a big time commitment and investment, not just of money, but also time. And I even went the fast track. I think I got mine done in about a year, about 11 months. But for you, what does that look like in your career or your field? I was thinking of somebody the other day where they wanted to make a transition and become a realtor. So getting their real estate license, like that is an example of investing into yourself. I don't know if they plan on doing it full time, but it was something that they had. Maybe it's getting your insurance license. Like, if you want to sell life insurance, not full time, but something, if you get licensed, it just becomes easier. It gives you choices. Something else that you could do, maybe you want to go back to school, get a degree. Maybe it's get another certification. Maybe it's getting a master's, getting an MBA, getting your doctorate. I mean, these are just other ways that you can invest into yourself. And if you want to go the less expensive route, I won't say cheap route, but you could also invest into an online course. And yes, you have like the courses on Udemy or Skillshare that are, $20, $10. And there's actually a lot of good content there for those that want some sort of intro course to something. Maybe it's finance, investing. Maybe it's photography. Maybe it's I always say basket weaving. I don't know why they always use that as an example. Maybe it's in trading crypto, proofreading, copywriting. I mean, there are so many of these types of courses on Udemy, and there's also the higher price ones. And I have spent a decent amount of money on online courses that were geared towards helping me learn something faster than I knew that I could learn it from on my own. So I wanted to learn it faster. And also I wanted to learn it from somebody that I knew had success in that topic. So for me, that was YouTube, that was blogging, that was goal setting. I'm trying to think of some other ones that I purchased. But yeah, like those are some of like the more common ones. And those are the ones that I've spent like over $1,000. One was like, I think $2,500. But but there are several out there, and they've been worth every single penny. Now, I've also bought a few that weren't that good. They're going to be out there, right? And the beauty with most of these is that you can ask for a refund, but don't be afraid. Like, I would just say, consider the source. Like, who are you buying the course from? Does it feel like it's somebody who's just trying to make a quick buck? Or is it somebody that you feel has achieved some level of success that you desire, that you can relate to? You know, you trust them. Maybe they have a YouTube channel, a podcast, a book, a blog, a newsletter, and you've been following them for quite some time. And now it feels like, yeah, I think this is a good time. This is like a good fit for me to consider, you know, whatever this course is. So that is another way that you can invest into yourself. Other options could be starting a business, and that could be an online business. It could be a franchise. It could be some sort of home-based business. It could be a blog. Now, you're not going to spend, I hope to God, that if you're starting a blog, you're not going to drop $10,000.
No! God, please, no! No!
If you're getting ready to do that, please shoot me a message. Let me know. I assure you that you can get started any sort of online business without 10 G's. I think with my blog, I had it was under $1,000. It was about $500 all in. And I didn't even have to spend that much. That was me trying to buy some fancy website theme design that I really didn't even need because I didn't know I was doing. But yeah, don't drop that. Other things like podcasting is also continues to be a big vertical, a big medium right now. I mean, there are so many podcasts. People are interested in hearing topics on whatever it is that you are an expert in, or that you have some experience in, or you're on a journey and want to share, you know, that experience. And you could do that on a blog. You could do that on a podcast. You can do it on a YouTube channel, or you could do it on all the above. I mean, that's the beauty of sharing this type of content, is that it could be multi-purpose, so that you are sharing to a lot of different people that are interested in whatever it is that you have to share. Now, this is something I don't have a lot of experience in, but is selling or reselling on Amazon FBA. FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. And typically, if you go on Amazon and look for anything, any sort of product, I'm trying to think of something that I bought here recently. I just bought, actually, I'm here in my YouTube studio, and I have this window tint over here on these windows to try to keep some of that sunlight out. And there are so many different choices that are on Amazon right now that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just looking at all the different reviews, trying to figure out which one actually works, which one's a waste of time. And when you kind of take a step back and realize, oh yeah, like none of these are like DuPont or 3M or GE. Like all of these vendors are some brand that I've never heard of. And each and every one of those is an Amazon, Fulfillment by Amazon, vendor. I mean, that's what Amazon FBA is all about. Let's go ahead and knock out the last idea here. And maybe this is one we could have started with. I mean, it just depends. I mean, we were talking about investing, but one way to invest and help increase your cash flow is to pay off your debt. Maybe $10,000 is not going to cover all of your debt, but if it can knock out some of your high interest debt, like a credit card that's paying or charging you more than 20% interest per year, if that's the case, let's start there. Like, let's not go to Bitcoin or even investing in your home. Let's not go into dividend stocks or robo-advisors. Like, let's focus on paying down the debt. As I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, I can remember the first $10,000 investment that I made. I just remember like how empowering that was to like, wow, I hit this spot where I actually have $10,000 to invest. How cool is that? But what was even more powerful was whenever I wrote a check and paid off my student loans. Like I had credit card debt, also had student loans. I had paid the credit card debt off first. When I finally paid off the student loans, and when I was finally done with that, that felt so dang good. And I get it, right? You got $10,000. You want to invest it and you want to see it grow. And I want you to, but you cannot put a price tag on how good it feels to finally be debt free. So before you get all crazy, start investing into a bunch of different of these ideas I mentioned, also consider that if you have any debt, especially high interest debt, like if you got student loans that you have a low interest rate and maybe, the government's going to come out with some sort of student loan forbearance for like, oh, look, all your student loans are forgiven. Maybe you're holding out on that. If that's the case, maybe hold out a little bit longer. Like, we don't know what they're going to do. I feel like they're changing. The president has some sort of update to that. I feel like every other week. So maybe you do just kind of play a wait and see, take advantage of these high yield savings, maybe put in some real estate. Maybe you're not ready to do Bitcoin yet because that seems a little too risky for you, or you recognize, oh, I could actually put money into my home and add some value and then take that money and then reinvest it into something else, maybe a rental property. Maybe you want to do that. Like, there are so many cool options. And that's what I love about investing. Like, it's not just one strategy. There's not one way that is better or trumps every single thing that's out there. I mean, I mentioned 17 ideas here. Truth is, there's probably 1,700 different options, probably 17,000 different options that you could look at. I just want to highlight some of the ones that I have some personal experience in and also have seen some success. So once again, if you want access to the blog post that kind of walks through all these different options I talked about, be sure to check that out. We'll have a link in the description. Until next time, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.